Hey guys, Jez Drake here. As a frequent traveler, I thought I knew it all when it came to accessing my money overseas, but it turns out I was just doing it wrong. We'll take you through the best ways to be using cash or cards when you're in the US. We'll cover off the pros and cons of each of the different types of cards, and we'll even tell you the one we road tested when we were recently in the US. Now, every trip to the States is going to be different. By the end of this video, we'll give you a wide range of options that should cover most bases when and how to access your cash next time you're in the States. Welcome to S Money's YouTube channel. Here is a channel all about travel hacks, money card reviews, eSIMs, and all the stuff you need to know about going overseas and visiting some of the hottest destinations in the world right now, all on this YouTube channel. So hit the subscribe button or visit smoney.com.au for all the latest information. There's a few different ways to spend your hard-earned cash in the US if you're going on holidays. The most important thing is to work out how to spend it without getting ripped off. We're diving deep into the world of greenbacks, plastic money, and those new handy travel cards which everyone is talking about. America loves cash, so buckle up. Here's all the ways that you can spend it. Firstly, for the OG. Unlike the rest of the Western world, which is technically transitioning away from a cashless economy, America still loves cold, hard cash. And so do we, because it's the cheapest way and the easiest way to work out that you're not getting ripped off. Pros. Cash is everyone's best friend forever. From that hot dog stand in New York City to the flea market in LA, cash has your back. Remember, you'll also need it for tipping everywhere you go, that weird American custom that doesn't exist anywhere else. I was recently just in the US, traveling through Seattle and Washington State for work. Personally, I found tipping with a card to be really difficult. They flip a screen around, there's a little percentage there, 15, 25, 35%, depending on how much you want to give and how generous you're feeling. But when you're doing it on a computer screen and with a card, it just takes the personality out of the whole experience. So I like to carry a little bit of extra cash with me, $1, $5 bills, just to make the experience a little bit more personal. And I got a bit of outcome and a bit of reaction at the end. Tech-free zone. With cash, you can forget about pesky declines on your cards, remembering a PIN, or glitchy machines that just don't work when they're underneath a really dingy building on a corner of New York City. Real feel. There's something about that feeling of cold hard cash that just makes it a bit more tangible. It also, when it's in your pocket or in your wallet or in your purse, there's just something about having cash with you in America that not only feels better, it just sort of keeps that spending in check a little bit. When it's on a card or on the back of your iPhone, it just doesn't feel real. The cons of cash. Safety first. In some US cities, it's just not safe walking around with wads of cash. You might as well be wearing a sign on you that says easy target. If you walk into a corner store, open your wallet, and a bunch of greenbacks just explode out. Bulky business. The pesky thing about cash in the US is that generally when you pay for something, you get coins in return. Sometimes a lot of them, especially pennies that become pretty much penniless when you finish up a trip in the US, and they all just sit in your pocket. ATM dramas. Sometimes you go to withdraw some cash, there's limits, or you get charged a fee just for taking out cash. That's a problem too. One of my tips and tricks if I'm always heading overseas with some cash is just stash it in lots of different places. You can put it maybe in your socks or in two different parts of your suitcase, and then also keep some in your wallet. Just in case something happens, you know where everything is. Now, if you're set on cash and you are going to get some cash out, do it before your trip and never exchange at the airport. Buy it at a place like S Money and make sure you do get a mix of notes. Don't just come away with a bunch of Benjamins, that's $100 notes, because once you've got that wad of cash, it just makes it a little bit more difficult to break it up when you are spending it in smaller places like bars or restaurants. Now, back to this guy, trusty old debit card. The pros. This is your money direct from the bank to you through an ATM, no middleman. Swipe it anywhere, because most Most places that will take credit, which is pretty much everywhere as I'll describe later in this video, will also take debit. So this is handy. Modern banks have worked out all the kinks, so it's pretty easy for you to be able to use this overseas. Need cash on the go? ATMs everywhere will take your plastic debit card from home. Again, like I've said, banks have worked out all the kinks. There may be some limits. You will definitely get charged fees, but you'll be able to use it with your normal PIN from home. Just be sure to let your bank at home know first. To reiterate again, you need to make sure if you are traveling overseas with your debit card that you let your bank at home know that you're going overseas. Now, back in the day, you might have to have picked up the phone and been on the phone for an hour and talked to someone about the dates, about when and where you are traveling. But now most of these debits are connected on a app, which means that you just need to toggle a little button on your app, maybe plug in some details about a date range and locations around where you're going to be away, and then it's all done for you. Cons, there's limits. And when I say there's limits, there's daily withdrawal limits, which means it can be a huge bummer if you are planning on multiple large purchases in a day. ATM gremlins, fees here, fees there, fees everywhere, fees. These things have fees coming out everywhere. That's, in fact, your bank at home is relying on you to use this thing to profit on the fees that it will get from the international currency exchange, the cash withdrawal exchange. It is embedded in their business model. And again, as I alluded to, if you don't tell them that you're going overseas, they're probably going to block your card as well, which means then you won't have a card anymore. You won't have any way to access your cash while you're in the US. Security. These things are prone to being stolen. And when I say stolen, I mean swiped or cloned. The little magnetic strip, if it is swiped and cloned, your money can be withdrawn from your account and then you'll be without any cash while you're on your holiday. And that's a big problem. Now, while they do come with their limits, there are some really good options to choose from if you do plan on just heading overseas with a debit card. Our top picks, Bank is number one. This digital bank is easy to get started and easy to use overseas. The app is awesome, and when you compare it against other suppliers or other banks, the exchange rate you get is probably one of the best. The other one is Macquarie Bank. It sounds a little highbrow. If you do bank personally with Macquarie Bank, it's easy to use their card overseas. You can take the physical card or you can use Apple Pay and use it across the US. They have a lot of favorable exchange rates and really low fees when it comes to direct bank to merchant spending. Now, the reason you're probably here is this option for accessing your cash in the US, and it's the new kid on the block. It's the prepaid money travel cards. They are absolute game changers, which is why I'm going to dedicate a bit more time to talking about them right here. From a pro's perspective, these guys are budget bosses. You can load them up and spend them without any worry because a lot of them are connected to apps. Well, in fact, all of them are connected to apps, and they let you track your spending and the details of the merchants and the times, like a little financial guardian angel that you might want to have in your pocket at all times every time you're tapping either a physical card that you get from these guys or your Apple Pay. Lock in your rate with these guys. Unlike your debit card where you're just swiping away overseas, you can actually buy your currency before you leave, which means the amount that you exchange before you leave is the same amount that you're getting when you're spending overseas, even if there's some fluctuation in the currency while you're in country. That's a real big draw card, especially if the rate is going down and you're losing money. This is a world traveler's dream. So let's say you're going to be visiting 5 countries or 20 different countries on your trip. We're not just talking about just running around on the euro. We're talking about maybe going to lots of different countries on your way to Europe and then maybe stopping in the US on your way home. This gives you the option to store multiple currencies on the one card in the one app, so you have the flexibility to spend really comfortably and really wisely when you're overseas. Lower currency transaction fees. That's a big pro. There's a reason why these guys are so popular, and it's because the fees are the lowest out of all of them. But there are some drawbacks with these guys. One of them is, let's say you get to a merchant, you swipe your card or tap your Apple Pay and you don't have enough on there. You're out of cash, which means you've got to wait until you reload or repurchase some new currency on your travel prepaid card, and that can be a problem. It's also not the most popular kit. It is the newest kit, but not the most popular, and that's because of the technology. And for the older generation, it can be a little bit tricky and daunting, but that stigma is waning, and you will see these more and more prevalent in the market. In fact, we've got two favorites that you must check out next time you're planning to go overseas. The first one is the Revolut card. It's one of our top picks. This is your budget's best friend. It's the most comprehensive and visible way for you to access your currency overseas. There's no nasty ATM fees, which is a huge plus. The second is the Wise card, formerly TransferWise. This one holds lots and lots of currencies, so for that world traveler, this is much better than Revolut. It also gives you the real deal on exchange rates, sometimes better. What we love about this product the most though, its user experience and its easy sign-up process. The process to getting one couldn't be more simple, and the process to loading it up is easier than Revolut. If you're interested in either of these, in fact, if you're interested in all the travel money cards out there in the market, again, we've done a video up here, which you can view, or you can click down in the link below to check out a full list of the top travel money cards. Finally, the old school plastic Amex, or other credit cards that might tickle your fancy. Pros. These guys will be accepted pretty much anywhere. From ritzy restaurants to baseball games, you'll get away with swiping your credit card anywhere. It's also a guarded treasure, so if you lose it or it's stolen, you can lock it and cancel it really easily. It's a booking buddy, which means that if you want to book any car rental or hotels, these guys will swipe it with impunity. Go ahead, hand it over, no problems with your bookings. Cons. These guys are a little bit of a sneaky fee and interest rate monster. Be really careful about the interest rates you're getting on some of your cash advance and some of the purchases that you're making while overseas. Also, you may even get caught out with an annual fee, which might look good in year one, but year two, trust us, it might not look so great on your credit card statement. Debt. Pretty sure that's a con for everyone. The whole purpose of these things is to put you in debt. It's money that you don't have. Be careful if you are going on a long trip and you plan on using your credit card, because when you get back, you're gonna pay for it. The sad reality is not everyone with the credit rating that they've got is gonna qualify for one either, and that doesn't make them very accessible. Pro tip, look for cards without foreign currency fees. Your wallet and your future self will thank you. The USA gives you a whole host of options next time you're visiting in terms of accessing your cash. Use a travel card to book accommodation and pay for things on the go. Then have your debit card from home as your backup. That's just in case your travel card runs out of cash at the end of the trip and you really need something to access your cash and you don't want to top anything up. The US is still pretty much a really strong cash economy, but it won't be long when it transitions away from that, like a lot of other Western countries. Cash is great, but it's almost not king there anymore. Remember, travel smart, travel safely, and spend wisely. Stay tuned for more videos on S Money's YouTube channel.